Hey guys, what's up? I'm Morgan and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining me, and I'm so glad that you are here and tuned in to my content. If you are here for this video in particular on how to construct this swimsuit that I have on right now, it's a one it's a one shoulder one piece swimsuit, and it's more of a full bottom, and it's just a super simple tutorial to follow. However, I suggest you watching this video right here first. I'm going to link it down below because this is the video that is where we constructed the actual pattern piece for this swimsuit. It's a lengthy video, but again, I go into detail in explaining how to actually make the pattern for your size in that tutorial. Now, a disclaimer for this video is when I do my sample pieces, I don't add elastic into my samples because there's always room for error or for reconstructing and moving pieces around, tightening it or taking it out a little bit, you know. So I didn't add elastic to this, but in your final design, you should definitely add elastic, because what you do with elastic, once you put it in there, it's actually what keeps your swimsuit like stuck to you. This is a really high quality swimwear fabric, so this is great without elastic, but with elastic it would be even better. So in my final design, I will definitely go back in and I will add elastic all the way around this swimsuit so that it fits better. So, you know, I'll get into that towards the end of the video as far as like the corrections and things like that that I will make. Now, also, if you're new to sewing swimwear or new to sewing in general, jumping into this tutorial might be a little confusing. I try to break this down as thorough as possible and as easy as possible for you to follow. There's multiple ways that you can construct a seamless style swimsuit or bikini, but I tried to go with the most easy way possible so no one gets lost or confused, and I hope that I did that for you. If you get confused during this tutorial, just let me know in the comment section and I'll try to explain things a little different in the next tutorial, whenever that may be. So without further ado, let's get into sewing up this one piece swimsuit.
Okay, so we're going to start off by showing you this sketch right here. This is basically the sketch of what the swimsuit is going to look like for the final design based off of the pattern that we did. We're going to do asymmetrical pattern off the shoulder. Mine is on the right side shoulder, and the straps will be tied like that in the back. As you can see, it's a more full coverage bottom and a more full coverage front where it's not so high up on the hip, and you know, just very fun and playful. We're going to be cutting 2 of the front pieces and 2 of the back pieces, so that way when we join them together, it will become a seamless style bikini. I labeled this YouTube sample design tutorial for all of us. So moving right into this pattern, I'm going to lay out the pattern pieces from the last video. Like I said, we have our front piece still and our back piece. I have not edited any of these pieces. It is as is, and I just went right into making this sample. So this is the front piece. You're going to be laying it out, and this is the back piece that we did. Those little holes in the pattern is just for where I notched it to where I can hang it on my pattern hook. So don't be alarmed by that. So now that we have both of our pattern pieces, we are going to be using some fabric weights on our patterns to hold it down, to make it easier. If you don't have fabric weights, just use books or something that will be able to hold down your pattern and make it easier for you to cut along once we lay out the fabric. So the fabric that I'm going to be using is just some scrap fabric from my summer collection that I didn't need anymore really, so I'm just going to be using the same color. So if you're familiar with my summer collection, you'll know this color from one of the swimsuits that I designed. This is a really high quality fabric and it has really good stretch. It's a 4-way stretch fabric, which is something that I always suggest that everyone uses, just because it sits on the body really well and it just moves with you as opposed to being constricted. So what I'm going to do now is take my fabric and I'm going to find an edge to where I can cut on the fold. Once I do that, it's time to start cutting out our pattern. So now you can see I found an area where I'm able to fit the pattern on top of, but as well as flip over the pattern, or the fabric, I'm sorry, so that it has a fold line. The fold line is where we're going to be putting our center front and our center back from how we aligned our patterns. So what you want to do is take your pattern, make sure you have enough coverage space at the top and the bottom of the fabric, so that way you know that you're cutting through 2 layers of fabric. Have that situated, you want to take some fabric weights or whatever it is that you have to hold down your pattern, and you want to place it so that your pattern is flat as possible. And we're going to be cutting from the inside basically all the way around to the outside. So as you can see, the edge that is straight is our fold line, and the other parts are the areas we're going to be cutting. So once we cut this out and open it, we have a full front piece. So now that we have our first piece cut out, you can see that once we flip this piece open, you have one full front piece, and you'll notice that there's 2 straps. If you want, you can leave this into 2 straps, but for this bikini, we already drafted a 1 strap, so we'll get to that a little later. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is just the full roll of fabric laid flat out, not on a fold, and I have my 1 piece that we already cut out opened all the way, and I pinned it down with the fabric weights. I'm going to take my rotary tool and just trace the outline of that 1 piece all the way around so that we have 2 exact pieces. And now you don't have to cut on a fold because it's a lot more easier to do it this way and to have an even pattern. So that's all I'm doing right now, is just cutting it out, tracing it all the way around, laid out flat. Okay, so now we have 2 exact front pieces laid flat out. As you can see, they still have the double shoulder straps. Now, if you wanted to keep it a double shoulder strap, you totally can, and you would have to add basically double the straps for what we are making. Instead of 2 straps, you would need 4. But I'm showing you guys on the pattern that we have to make it into a 1 piece because that is the design and the pattern that we went with in the other tutorial when we were drafting the pattern. So in order to do that, you're going to remove one of the pieces immediately, and you're going to draft the 1 shoulder on 1 piece of fabric first, and then you're going to be able to copy it onto the next one. It's all about tracing this pattern, to be honest. So cutting out the patterns and things like that will become a lot easier as you make your own patterns, but because I'm explaining it, I want to make sure that you guys understand like what I'm doing as opposed to just rushing through this tutorial. So I hope you guys don't mind lengthy videos. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be cutting my 1 shoulder off of one side. Now you can do this on the right or the left, that's completely up to you. My shoulder strap is going over my right shoulder, and I'm going to start cutting at the armpit of the left shoulder. So I'm just going to drag that all the way up, making sure that I don't lose the curve from the neckline, because that's very important, because you want your strap to still be aligned with your body. So I'm cutting mine up, and as you can see, all I did was start at the left armpit and just drag it all the way up to where the curve starts on the right side for the neckline. And now all I'm going to do is take my pattern and I'm going to repeat it to the other side by placing this one on top of the other one. So now that we cut out both of the front pieces and we made them both 1 shoulder, we're going to fold that up and set it to the side, because now it's time to cut out the back pieces. Okay, so we're going to be doing the same thing, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit so I'm not wasting too much of your time. I'm just going to place the center back on that fold line, and I'm going to cut out the fabric exactly how we did it on the front piece. So just trace your pattern around. You should be cutting only through 2 layers of fabric right now because it's on a fold. And once we finish cutting this out, we're going to open this up again and transfer it to the flat piece of fabric and only cut through 1 layer like we did on the front, just so we know that the both pieces are even. So that's what I'm showing you right now. This is the full back piece opened all the way up, and then we're going to transfer it right on over. So I'm going to lay it flat out, use some weight so your pattern does not shift. Try to adjust the light. I know it's the same color fabric, so it's actually kind of hard to see. If you are doing this on 2 different fabrics, it will be reversible once you're finished. Just keep that in mind. So you can see now that we have both the back pieces right here and we have both of the front pieces, and you can do yourself a favor right now and just place your fabrics on top of each other, right sides together. So right sides should be touching. So right now I'm going to explain how we're going to get into these straps. Okay, so the width of my shoulder strap is 2 inches and a quarter, so 2¼ inches. So that's what I'm doing. I just put my fabric out and I folded it over until it reaches 2¼ inches. After I do that, I'm going to start cutting that out so that way the straps are completely even. So I have that and it's cut, like I said, it's on a fold. So you want to flip it over and then measure 2¼ Don't measure 2¼ flat, because then once you fold it, it's not going to be wide enough for the actual shoulder area. And then I'm just going to continue to cut all the way down 2¼ 2¼ and all I'm doing is flipping it, and it's laid out flat now, and just so that the fabric stays even. Basically, I'm going to do that. So I think the width of my straps are 29 inches long each, and they're 2¼ inches wide. So all I'm going to do is make sure that those are even, and all I'm doing now is going to take some scissors and I'm just going to cut it down the middle so that I know that both of the straps are equal length. Okay, so now that we have all of our pattern pieces cut out, this is going to be how we are going to start sewing this all the way together. So we're going to start by sewing up the leg holes for the front and back pieces. It's going to be back with back, right sides together, and at the seam line for the leg holes, front with front, right sides together. At the leg hole, the straps we're going to sew, and then across the top of the front piece so that you have the shoulder connected to the torso. And again, just another illustration, you're going to sew across that part right there, leaving the armhole open at the top at the shoulder. You're going to be sewing the crotch lines together. You're going to be sewing the back pieces right sides together as well, and you're going to only be sewing that leg line. Don't sew anything else on the back. The sides of both pattern pieces should be open. As far as the straps, you're going to take your straps, you're going to fold them in half, and you're going to be sewing across the raw edge 1/4 inch and leaving those two edges open because you have to be able to flip them inside out. I suggest you use pins if you're new to sewing. I still use pins and I'm great at sewing. It's just so your fabric doesn't slip and slide and do all of those things. Now, I should mention, if you are going to use elastic, all the pieces that we are sewing right now, like all the parts that we are going over, that's where you would add the elastic to. So the strap, exactly where you put that seam at just now, that's where the elastic will go, right on top of. For the leg holes, the elastic will go right on top of the leg hole seams that you're sewing. For the shoulder all the way across to that tube area, to the armpit, that's the side that you will be sewing your elastic to. And as far as the other side, you will be sewing it on both sides of the shoulder to the side seams. So everything that you sew right now, if you wanted to add elastic, you will add it right on top of the stitches of where you're sewing. The only thing that will be open after you sew all of this are the side seams of the torso area. That should be the only open seams after you have done this. If you don't have an opening, you have done something wrong. So you should only be sewing, like I said, the top part across the shoulder, and then on the opposite side of the shoulder with the shoulder hole being open, and the both of the leg lines. That's the only thing. So again, just as a repeat, if you want to add elastic, you would only add elastic to the exact things that you are stitching right now, okay? Which are the leg holes and the shoulder top part of the tube and the opposite side of the shoulder. That's it. So now that all of the parts that we need to sew are sewn up right now, you're going to take one of those straps and flip it inside out. So you're just going to take it and literally flip it inside out. You can do this with a loop turner. If you have a hard time flipping it through, you can use a safety pin to pull it through. But because this is a little bit of a wider strap, you can just flip it inside out with your hands, and it's super easy. Do this to both of the straps, flip them both inside out because we are about to be using them, and it's just easier to have it already done. So now that both of the straps are flipped inside out, you're only going to need one right now. So take one and place the other one to the side. Now where that shoulder is open at, you want to take one of your straps that's already flipped inside out and go through the side area that is open. That torso area on the same side as your shoulder strap should be open. And you're going to take that strap and push it all the way through until it comes out the top of that shoulder hole opening. Just wiggle it around a little bit until you pull it all the way through. Again, you can do this with a loop turner if it's easier. I did it with my hands because I didn't need one because the straps are so wide. So as you can see, that strap has poked out of that shoulder seam, and you want to take it, you want to flatten it and line up the seams on the inside. So you should be having a strap that's flipped right side out, and it should be right sides together on the inside of your front piece fabric. And you're just going to take that, wiggle it around until just a little bit is poking out. Again, if you don't have a serger, just use a zigzag stitch on all of these stitches, and it's going to work the same way. So just line it up, and what you're going to do is go across the top, and then I like to flip mine over and go across it again just so it's very secure, considering that it is a strap piece. And that's what you're going to see me doing now. I take it, go through once, cut that excess off, and then flip it over and go right across the exact same piece. So it's, you know, secure. Okay, so now that the strap is in there, you're just going to take it and literally pull it all the way out so that you're flipping that pattern piece inside out. So now the outside that you're looking at, you should be flipping it in. As you can see how seamless that is, you can't even see the stitch. That is the strap that we just connected. And just flip that whole front piece to the right side. So you should flip it out, and what you should be looking at right now is the actual outside part of your one piece. So you should be looking at the right side of the fabric. You should not be able to see any of the seams that you have just sewn, and you should have the sides open still. Now the back piece, this is where we're going to start constructing and connecting the back to the front. So what you're going to do, leaving the back piece exactly as is without flipping it inside out, you can see that I'm showing you the inside part. You're going to take the front piece of the bikini, the swimsuit that we just sewn up together. You're going to insert that into the back piece and line up the crotch seams. So your right side out front piece should be going into the right side of the back piece, lining up that crotch seam. That's why we didn't sew the crotch seam shut, because we're going to do that right now. And this is how you're going to connect the front and back pieces. So you can see the back piece is still inside out, which means the front piece is on the inside, right sides together. So all the right sides right now are touching. And again, you're just gonna go right across that crotch line. And how I did the straps, I go on one side, then I flip it over, and then I go over again just so that it's really secure. Okay, so now that the crotch pieces are lined up, what you want to do is take this piece and literally flip everything to the right side now. So you're just going to pull that middle piece, which is your front piece, and just open it all the way up. So now you should be looking at only the right side. So this is no seams are showing, and you're looking at both of the right sides of the fabric. Now this is how we're going to connect the side seams, and this is why I said you should leave those open, because we are about to connect those right now. You can see the side seams, and then you see the back piece. That's the back piece that I'm holding, that's laying flat against the cutting mat. What you're going to do is you're going to first line it up, and then the last piece of the back, which is the part that's touching the surface of the mat, it's your last back piece. You're going to take the back piece, that one single layer, and you're going to pull it down and flip it until it's in the front. So you're just going to take that last layer, literally pull it all the way down like I'm showing you, and you're gonna flip that to the front. So basically retucking everything, except for now you're pulling that last layer and bringing it to the front. It's very important that you follow that step, because now we're gonna sew through 4 layers of fabric and connect the front and back side seams. So you can still see the middle is our front piece and it hasn't been moved at all. And you're gonna take those pieces, you're gonna line up the side seams where we finished sewing that leg line, and you're gonna pull that up and line up the back piece with the back piece, and then the front piece with the back pieces as well. So the front pieces are in the middle, the back pieces are on opposite sides, one on the front and one on the back. And now you have 4 layers of fabric that you are going to be sewing through. When you're sewing, you might have to stretch this out just a little bit, because obviously the front piece is already sewn up a little. So you can see me stretching it now. You should be sewing through 4 layers of fabric, okay? 4 layers all the way down. So now that we have sewn through both of the side seams, what we're going to do is take this and flip it all the way inside out. All you're going to do is just literally flip the bikini or swimsuit, I'm sorry, inside out. And now you can see that all the sides are connected. Only thing that is open should be the back side, the back top piece, which is where the tag and the other strap is going to go. But as you can see, the side seams are all sewn. It's still completely seamless. There are no seams visible, which means it's going to fit really nice on your body, smooth, no lines, just perfect. So you can see what we have going on now. Now it's time to get to that other strap that we had from earlier that we set aside. All you're going to do is look at those back seams that are open across the back, the straight part, and you're going to get those 2 layers, right? And all you're going to do is flip everything in between those 2 layers. So flip the entire swimsuit in between those 2 back layers. And now what we have here is a little sandwich, like a little pocket, right? The fun part is you can pick where you want to put your strap, which I will explain at the end of the video, all of my adjustments. For right now, what you're looking at is me put the strap right at that side seam on the opposite side of the strap from the front. So my front strap is on my right side shoulder, which means I need my back strap to go on the left in the back. So somewhere towards the left side of the back is where you would want your strap to go. So when you're doing this, you're going to place the seam against the seam, so that way the seams are all lined up. So that's the strap piece that you can see me holding, and then you can see it's all the way inside. I put the entire strap inside of that little sandwich pocket that we created. And you're going to take the end of your strap and line it up with that raw edge. Super easy. So everything right now should be on the inside of these back pieces. Nothing should be hanging out. And what you're going to do is sew across first those 4 layers, which is the 2 outsides for the back and the 2 strap pieces. That's the only time you're going to be going through 4 layers of fabric for this back piece. And then after you sew through that, you should only be sewing through the 2 back pieces, so 2 layers of fabric. So first through the 4 pieces, which is going to include that strap, and then automatically you should go into the back pieces. You can see me showing those 2 finger spaces right there, because once we sew this all the way across, we are going to take our seam ripper and we are going to seam rip a 1.5 inch hole to pull the entire suit through. But where that 1.5 inch hole is, that's usually where your tag would go. If you're doing a reversible bikini, you're not going to sew through the tag. You're just going to put an invisible stitch so that it closes it back up. So you can see me right now. I'm first going to go through those first 4 layers, and then it's automatically going to go through the 2 layers because that's where the strap is. Down through that same ripped hole from the back, you're just going to pull the entire swimsuit through that hole. Trust me, it will fit because this fabric is stretchy. So go through that tiny little hole and flip the entire swimsuit inside out to the right sides. So now we have a completed swimsuit. All you have to do is, 1, close up that invisible hole right there. You see, that's where we pull the swimsuit through, that little gap in the back. And you can do an invisible stitch, or you can do a really tiny cover stitch on top to where you can't see it with the same colored thread. But that's initially where your tag and everything like that will go. So that's your decision. I'm going to do an invisible stitch because I want it to remain seamless and it'll be perfect. But here's the full one piece. You'll see in a second what it looks like on the body. But you can see where the straps are. It's off the shoulder still. And it still has full seamless, no lines. These are the best styles to me, in my opinion, just because they're so versatile. You can use 2 different color fabrics and it will be reversible. And because it's super soft and snug, it would be amazing. And once you add the elastic for your final garment, it will be like even better because it's going to fit a lot tighter to your curves of your body once you add the elastic on in there. So a quick little try on. This is the finished garment. As you can see, it fits. The measurements worked out great. It's a little bit more full coverage in the front. I'm used to a more high coverage, but this will do just fine because I actually like it. It's really cool, especially when you don't need to be showing a lot. You can see the back is a lot more full coverage as well. The top is perfectly across and aligned with the body. So the pattern actually worked out great. And stay tuned because I'm going to be talking to you in 2 seconds about the adjustments that I would make to this swimsuit.
You guys, that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. I hope that you guys have constructed something beautiful. Please tag me in your designs if you happen to sew this up or sew the pattern. Let me know. Tag me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram as well, because once I take this off and I construct and I go back in and reconstruct it with the elastic and things like that, I will eventually post a picture on my Instagram account. So if you want to see the final draft of this pattern, just follow me on my Instagram account and you'll be able to see it posted there very soon. Now, as far as the changes and things like that, I don't know if I explained it during this video because I'm in the editing process, but basically what I would do to this one is the measurements are perfectly fine and it fits really good. Okay, however, I would take this in just a little bit just so it fits a little bit more snug on my body. So instead of the 1/4 inch seam allowance that I added to the pattern, I wouldn't add that. I would just cut it directly on the pattern lines as far as like for my size. I wouldn't add the 1/4 inch seam allowance just because it would fit a lot more snug to my body. I just like mine to fit tight, you know, super tight, and I still have a little bit of room. Even though this is like, again, high quality fabric, I just like mine to fit a little bit more tight. So instead of drafting this in a large, I would probably do a medium. The other thing that I would change as far as the pattern is I would take 2 inches off the height of the shoulder strap. So where the shoulder part starts right here, where that seam would be, I would literally take off, just cut off 2 inches so that my seam starts here as opposed to here when I'm tying up the swimsuit. So I would do that immediately, just take off 2 inches. As far as the back part, you see the seam that we added right here, the strap where it was added. I like to add mine on the seam. However, for this style, it doesn't work out the same. So what I would do with the back strap is I would just slide it over about 1.5 to 2 inches just away from the seam. So if this is the seam, you can see the seam right here, I would literally just take this and slide it over, so that way the back strap is coming from here as opposed to right over here. So that's the only thing that I would do, and then everything else is really good. I actually like this style swimsuit. I didn't think, you know, it would be like this as far as full bottoms, because I'm not a full bottom type of girl. The other thing I would do is not use this color. This color is from my scrap fabric from my summer collection. So if you visit my website, you'll see this swimsuit, not this swimsuit. You will see another swimsuit in this color, and I picked this color for that specific style. So I wouldn't do this color with this style, even though it's super cute. I would try to do it in more of a neutral color, just for my own personal taste. But yeah, and if I was to sell this on my website, I would definitely tweak it and make it more of the aesthetics of the styles that end up on my website when I'm in the design process. So I wouldn't add this style in particular, but I would definitely go with this style full bottom, but I would definitely add changes to the straps and the cut. I'll probably add just different elements that would make this more Mayhem swim, you know, aesthetics. But for me, this is super cute to go to the pool, go to a pool party, lounge at the beach. This is perfect. It fits so good. It has enough coverage to where it feels like a nice swimsuit. You're not, you know, your butt's not out, it's not high cut, so it's a lot more comfortable for you to wear. And also this will double as a bodysuit any day, because I can wear this with some, you know, cute baggy jeans or high waist jeans, mom jeans, some shorts, and no one will ever know that this is a swimsuit. So this is perfect for going to hang out and ending up at the pool this summer. So that's all for this video, you guys. I hope you guys like it. Again, hit the comment section. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you like any of my content, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.